Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Early Mornings LALATE. I'm here, you're here, and we're getting ready for Halloween. So while there may be a trick, or there may be a treat, or there may be much of nothing, Nancy Pelosi may have something for you. The question is when. And how about Donald? And what about Joe? And what about Mitch? We're getting it all together, and it might be a little spooky, it might be a little bit Temple of Doomy, but we're all here, and this is Early Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Early Mornings LALATE with our Halloween episode as we count down the days to election night and to Halloween this weekend. This is a special recording that is children-friendly, so if you want to bring your children in that are unable to trick-or-treat this holiday season, bring them in the room. We'll only be talking about stimulus, annual relief, and keeping it all financial. Thank you for joining me. It's a great day. If you've not subscribed, go to the front of the channel, subscribe. This is the fastest growing community on the net for a reason, because no one has better masks than me. I had to say that. It is a nice mask. And also like this video. I initially tried to do this recording all in character, and I was just like, I can't do the Captain Jack Sparrow, character voice the whole recording. It's just too much. In this recording, I'm going to go over why lockdowns and your stimulus could determine the presidential election, and also could determine how much stimulus you're getting. Really a shocking news and exciting news, and I'm so glad you tuned in. This is a super chat, and if you've never been part of this Early Mornings LALATE every day, wow, you're in store for some fun. This is the bottom of the hour, the 6:30 broadcast following the 6 a.m. Eastern Standard broadcast, and both of them are instant premieres. Go to the right of this video, and on the right, you will see a live chat if you're tuning in exactly when this video is going live at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every day, this show has a live chat because it's an instant premiere. You can chat with your Purple Power buddies and chat about my mask and chat about your costume and your alpaca and your dog and your kitty as well. It's absolutely a lot of fun. So I love that you joined me for this live premiere this morning, and let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as we start Thursday morning is that the new jobless numbers will be the real core and focus of the stock market as we start the new day. But whether or not the jobless numbers are good or whether they're bad, most of the stock market and most of Americans are wondering about the next wave. Yes, as the pandemic rages out of control, all these jobless numbers are much of nothing because everyone expects them to be very bad very quickly. In fact, the numbers have not improved that much, I can report to you right now, based upon how long we have been in this pandemic. If you look at the jobless numbers before the pandemic, they were at about 200,000 new jobless claims per week. As soon as the pandemic hit, we went to 1 million. Then it pulled back to about low ones for a long time, and the last few weeks has been 800,000. Bottom line is, since this pandemic started, there's been almost the same amount of jobless claims per day as when we started, whether we have been on lockdown or not on lockdown. But now, as the fall rages out of control with new COVID-19 cases, no stimulus relief in place, and the new concerns about a contested election, there's a lot of worries that the unemployment numbers in a few weeks from now could be absolutely categorically incredible. What's important to understand as you sit here today is that we're motivated. We're going to get through this together. And what I'm getting you focused on is getting the narrative very strong, very vocal, and very positive right now for how much stimulus you need in the event of lockdowns. Yes. What's important to understand is this channel did not exist in March. A lot of channels didn't exist in March. No one was really out there fighting for you for stimulus when the pandemic hit in March. And in fact, congressional leaders didn't really know what to do when the pandemic hit because no one knew much about the pandemic or how long it would go on. Well, as we sit here now, we do know there are going to be lockdowns. We do know you may have to stay in your home and you may lose your job and you may need money. So, what the Purple Power is doing with a positive outlook, a smile on our face, and a motivation every day, but maybe not a pirate's mask or a Renaissance mask, is getting the narrative out, hey, we need our second stimulus and we need our third stimulus because our third stimulus is the one for the winter carrying us into the spring. New lockdowns are expected, and this is where we are with the breaking news this morning. Last night, Joe Biden was pitted against Donald Trump as the lockdown candidate versus the non-lockdown candidate, and I'm not referring to a wrestling match. President Trump is trying to paint Joe Biden as the president who will put the entire country back on lockdown, and President Trump is painting himself as the president who will fight against all lockdowns. What's ironic about the scenario is that Trump has a good discussion there, but he doesn't take it economically to the way the discussion should be pitched or the argument should be said. Let me explain what he should have said. What he should have said, Trump, is that Joe Biden is the lockdown president and he's not going to pay you for the lockdown. He's not going to compensate you for the lockdown. What he's going to do is keep you home and give big money bailouts to Gavin Newsom and Andrew Cuomo, which is absolutely correct. Nancy Pelosi's current proposal for the second stimulus is to give you one stimulus check or a measly stimulus check for the period of the last lockdown all the way up to the present, while she wants to give big bailouts to states. And every time I say this, I get speechless because it's hard for me to even say it. She hasn't even written a third stimulus package to give you stimulus checks, FPUC, and hazard pay from the winter into the spring. All her proposals in her second stimulus package, with the exception of FPC, which goes 1 week into January, expire in December. So she doesn't even have anything that even covers you through the thick of winter. She hasn't prepared for it. She hasn't planned for it. And here's the data coming out overnight. You know, one of the things I'm going to give you in this update is lockdown numbers here in the United States, lockdown numbers internationally, and lockdown numbers as they impact economics. And what I always miss in broadcast news, and that's what I want to bring back into this channel a lot for you, is international perspective, because there's a lot of international data that shows you stimulus, economic numbers, lockdowns, and how it works. And you often don't get it on broadcast news in the United States. This last Tuesday, the city of Melbourne ended a lockdown that started July 7th. And the lockdown worked. It economically may have worked, but for health circumstances, it worked. I'm pretty proud of what we've achieved here, said Professor Sharon Levin. The outcome has been extraordinary without its pain, though. Europe and U.S. are facing enormous numbers in Victoria, which is Melbourne. We've had an isolated outbreak pretty much in Melbourne, and the rest of the country is extremely low, and in many states, zero numbers. We absolutely had no choice but to go into significant lockdown if we're going to rejoin the rest of the country, and that gave us motivation. So on Tuesday, 5 million residents of Melbourne, which is a small town, we're saying 5 million, came out of that lockdown. Well, in England, a new study today reveals that 100,000 people could get COVID per day unless they go on lockdown. We're in a deep state of a second wave, said European Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen. I think this year's Christmas will be a different Christmas. And France, if you did not see my reporting overnight, France is going on lockdown this Friday all the way to December 1st. President Macron announced yesterday that France, which has absolutely had out of control COVID-19 cases, will go on lockdown this Friday to December 1st. You know, this channel reports a lot of Tour de France every year. You know, maybe 3 stories a day, every single stage of the Tour de France. I adore the Tour de France. Love watching it. This year, when I personally watched it, I was shocked. When I watched it, I thought, am I watching last year's Tour de France or am I watching this year? The reason I thought that was because everyone was standing right next to each other on watching the race on the streets. There was no social distancing. Well, now France is suffering the consequences of it. They have to brutally apply the brakes, and they submerge the acceleration of the pandemic. The virus is circulating at a speed that the most pessimistic forecasters had anticipated. Like in the spring, you won't be able to leave. This is Macron now speaking. Like in the spring, you won't be able to leave your home only to work for a medical appointment, to provide assistance to a relative, to shop for essential goods, or to go to a walk near your house. But factories will remain open, and he does not expect the economy to collapse because they prepared accordingly. And in Germany will now begin its lockdown on November 2nd, but will be a little bit different. Schools and kindergartens will be open. Restaurants will be closed, but for takeaway. Massage parlors. It's basically what Southern California was when the pandemic first hit. What's important to understand is that these lockdowns in these other countries come with stimulus checks. They give stimulus to their citizens. They say, stay home, don't go out, and we're going to send you a check. In this country, they don't do crap. They literally don't do a single thing, and that's what's made of viewers very disconcerted. And Federal Reserve Jerome Powell says this is a problem. 33% of the GDP of foreign countries is spent on stimulus. We hadn't even spent 15% by the first stimulus package, by the end of the first stimulus package. And now those other countries are spending more. We still haven't spent even money from before. So we're very, very far behind. What's important to understand as you start the new day is that Wall Street will be very volatile, and that ultimately the economists are looking at those three factors: stimulus, lockdowns, and the impact on the economy, and COVID-19 cases. And all three are related to your stimulus. What's also important to understand is that on Tuesday, we will not potentially know who's the president of the United States. We may not know who controls the Senate. And all those uncertainties will also cause tensions on the economy. We could have contested elections and also runoff elections. And ultimately, all of that does not impact your stimulus. What impacts your stimulus is purple power. Purple power has started the narrative very loud and very clear to focus on how much stimulus you need, how much stimulus you're owed, and how much stimulus you should get going forward. No one else except this community is really pushing the narrative of how much money you're owed. We're sitting here in October, and we got November, December, January, February, at least potentially of lockdowns coming up in certain states across the country, or of at least very severe weather that could impact the virus. That's 4 months. How many stimulus checks are the Democrats going to give us for that period of time? How many stimulus checks are the Republicans going to give us for the time? How much unemployment assistance, FPUC, are the Republicans going to give us? How much are the Democrats going to give us? And how about hazard pay? If you work in a grocery store over those 4 months, are you going to get hazard pay, or are you not going to get hazard pay? It's those type of things that we're really pushing front and center, because no one's fighting for your stimulus in the middle of a pandemic except us. But we're going to get through it together. Let me go over some incredible comments and questions last night from yesterday's recording. Phil, they should all be dismissed and leave like poor children. Lori, let all the American vote on the stimulus package. Anne, I made more money working. I don't know how the rich people can make statements about being too high. Scott Watson, we're ready for the towering house hour of power purple. Art Velez, good morning, LA, to the Tower Purple Power family. My prayers to all those who have lost so much. I stay positive. Thank you. Patriot Traveler, you look all snazzy this morning. Good. Thank you. Stay in there. Jacqueline Bishop, good morning, everyone. Purple Power. Maggie G, hey, Purple Power. Joyce Bell, the next thing I want to hear is, hey, America, it's a law. Victoria Perez, right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Good morning. Let's get the Purple Power going. I love that. Karen Jones, good morning, Purple Power family. This broadcast really showed me how the government really cares about us. Come on, people, get it done. George Hendrickson, good morning from Astoria, Oregon. And the Purple Power family want to thank you for not giving up when we feel defeated and motivate. You never feel defeated. If you don't have your mask on, get your mask on, get ready, and get joining when ready with me today. Renee, good morning, Purple Power family. Albert, let's get it done. If you've not, go to the front channel, subscribe, because we get through this together. It's a great day when we're just getting started. Also, like this video. Coming up at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is Mornings LA, not early mornings, but Mornings LA. That's 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and save LA for more.